I'm the old bat. And that's the old bud. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm doing the Bug Me video method of taking out the heater channel and replacing it. So everything is pivoting on those two bolts on this side and the other side. All the other bolts are out. So it just pivots there. You lift up the front end and that frees it all up. You have to do this for a Super Beetle because the welding down there you have to get to. It doesn't just come off the front, whatever you call that, fire shield. What's it called? Firewall. So that's why I have it this way. So let me show you where those welds are. Okay, so here is one, it looks like underneath. So you see that weld there, I have to cut. And the weld over there, I have to cut. I don't think there's anything here. If there is, it'll be a spot weld, I'd assume, because I don't see a weld bead. So those two things have to happen for Super Beetles. But on Super Beetles, the heater channel goes underneath the firewall. So that's why you have to do it this way. Okay, so for standard Beetles, let me get in a position here where I can do this. The heater channel just ends right there. It doesn't go underneath there. So this bottom area here has to be replaced like I did on the other side. So instead of worrying about drilling out spot welds, I'm just gonna cut it all along there, easy peasy, and then cut over there and replace that part too like I had to do. And then inside you have to cut these welds around here. And then it should be loose. We'll see. Roach-ola. Off with that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just grind off the little remnants of the old heater channel here, make this all clean, and then move on to the next step. Right there. All right. Over there. I should have just cut right there, huh? There we go. Okay, so cutting there and there, and all the stuff I did with the inside, you see that this fell off there, which is what you want. Get that off of there. This is that part of the heater channel that the Super Beetles goes underneath here. Okay, it's time to prep my heater channel for installation. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut off a big portion of this. See where that little line might be? I don't know if you can see that, but here's the original. And you see the flange here is really narrow. And here is this big old wide thing. So I'm going to buzz it off. I'm going to try to use my plasma cutter today to see how that works. Okay, let's check the thickness of this little puppy. So I know where to set my plasma cutter. About 2.5 millimeters. So that means I should use 20 amps. And 40 to 50 of, yeah. Well, it's even lower. This says 5 millimeters, so this is thinner than that. But I'm just going to go with it. We're going to go with 20, and then I'll see how that goes. If I need higher, then I'll go higher. Okay, I'm just going to chase these threads, and we're going to put it on the car. See how it fits. Okay, so what good news is that it heater channel lines up with all the bolt holes perfectly, which is lovely, except over here again, like it was on the other side. This flap here is not in the right spot, and I've tried moving this around up and down a little bit, but it ain't happening. So I'm just going to do what I did on the other side and cut this off right here and reattach it once I have it all perfect. So now what I'm going to do is start getting the heater channel prepped. I'm going to paint the inside of it. I'm going to weld up those, well, first I'm going to weld up the edge I cut. And then I will just carry on. Here we go. Okay, so you see all this denting here. I'm going to try to dolly it out. Let's see how I do. Okay, well, it's better, I think. But obviously, I don't have the touch. But we do have Bondo. Okay, so yesterday I cut out all this old icky rusty metal, and this I sprayed with Ospo, but it still looks rust color. I thought it was supposed to be kind of black, like that little bit right there. So no biggie. I have some of this paint that I'm going to put in there. This Rust-Oleum Reformer. So I'm just going to paint all in there. I have a brush. I'm going to stick it in there and just get everything in there. I cleaned it out, and I think I'll clean it out with some acetone first, and then put that on there. But before I do all that, I need to make a template for just this part. I don't really care. I can put this on later. Okay, I'm going to get you set up. Over there. This is catching right here. So I'm not sure why, but that's the problem. So because if you look at these bolts right there, they're lining up. So it looks like everything's supposed to be where it is. And the back over here looks good. That looks right where it's supposed to. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. And then these holes are a little off. So maybe that's the problem. I'll figure it out. Okay, I just needed to loosen up the bolts on the heater channel and smack it around a little bit. Now it looks like it's going to clear. Let's hope. Let's hope. Okay, these are the two bolts in the front. You can see that's not lined up. So that tells me that the car needs to come. Well, let me show you. What are we doing? Those two bolts there. So that tells me that the chassis needs to come this way. So I'm going to use my porta power and see if I can just nudge it a little bit. And then we should be in business. Okay, so I have the porta power smushed up against the heater channel and on the tunnel here. And then over here, I have that I'm going to crank up. So I'm going to focus you guys on the holes so that you can see the holes. Okay, I got to do this with two hands. I mean, one hand holding the camera because I can't get the angle to be good. All right. It's hitting. All right, here we go. Look at that. That's cool. There. That's what we needed. So happy. Awesome. Okay. Well, now it's a little too forward. So I need to move it back a little bit. But that is good. So let's see how this side looks. There's a lot more room now. All right, here we go. Where are you? There you are. Come on, baby. Not doing it. I don't want to bend anything. Okay, there's pressure on it now, so maybe if I try to align those holes with a screwdriver, that'll work. So let me get a screwdriver. I wanted to show you guys something cool. Remember when I put this whole thing in and I made it so I could use these as alignments? Well, look how nice that looks right there. That's perfect. That one got bent, so that you can't look at that. But then let's look at these guys. Where is it? There. That one lines up. And that one lines up. So I feel really comfortable with how well everything lines up. Let me show you how the door is lining up too. That's why I kept the door on, in case you're wondering. But you see that? So I'm real happy about that. All right, so cutting butt up here. I'm feeling a little tired, so I'm not going to keep going. I just shouldn't work when I'm tired, right? All right, let's make a little patch. Let's see here. Okay, and then I'm just going to put this right in the corner so I know where to cut, since I can't get my knife in there. And then I'll turn this little bit off. Cool. Okay, so there, now it works. And you see how, come on, oh, is it, I can't see with this thing there. See how there's two layers there? So this layer I'm putting in is the inside layer, so I can put, attach the heater channel to it, and then I'll deal with the outside layer after I finish putting in the heater channel, so I can put my thing on the body on a dolly, or what's it called? No, a rotisserie. That's my hope. We'll see if I can do it. Okay, so I'm gonna tack it on from the outside, but I'm gonna do all the welding on the inside because this is the inside piece. So that is the plan. So let's just tack it in here. Situated. There we go. Okay. Now I'm not going to obviously weld down below here because this is a chassis and it doesn't need to. And this all has to, this outside skin wraps underneath the heater channel. So that's going to be a whole different ball of wax. But let's tack this little puppy in. and move on to the inside. A little back here. Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? Let's see if we can get it. But all I care about right now is securing the heater channel so I can take it off the chassis and put it on a rotisserie and get rid of those bars in the center. Boy, that is irritating stuff right there. Trying to maneuver around that. Beauty. Beautiful. A little there. Okay. Cool. I think that's great. And then over here, I can do that when I have the car up because it is not comfortable in here with this chassis on. Motion. Oh, you do it. Lost audio again. So all I care about at this stage is getting the heater channel in there solid so that I can take out the supports in the center and put it on a rotisserie, which I will show how I did that in the next video. It's pretty exciting. Luckily for me, this side wasn't as rusted out as the other side, so I didn't have to replace that bracket in there. It's totally solid, which made this side a little easier. I am going to remove this inner bracing because I don't need it anymore. I'm happy about that, let me tell you. Yay! I don't have to be in contortions. Well, I just welded all that up. I was turned the camera on, but then my phone was like, your accessory is not compatible. You know, one of those stupid messages. And it stopped the recording. So anyway, that's done. All right, so I did something stupid. I forgot to jack the heater channel up from the outside before I welded that. So I'm gonna get rid of that weld and re-weld it after it's leveled. The door alignment, it's all for the door alignment. The door alignment isn't off very bad, but I just want it perfect. And remember, I've never taken this door off, so this is exactly where it was when I bought the car. All right, it's loose. You can check it with the feeler gauge. Of course, I screwed that up, but that's what welding is for. I'll fix that up. Now, I'm gonna jack up the heater channel and make sure the doors are aligned. All right, done. Okay, so that corner on the bug is nice. So I'm just going to cut this part out. The corner's missing here. So I may or may not end up using that, but I don't need that for sure. So I'm just going to snip that off with my angle grinder. More than I did yesterday. Here it is. Relax. Oops, I did it too well. That's okay. People, subscribe to his channel. And he's super creative. You can tell he's really done a lot of work on himself. You know, he's kind of the best person he can figure out how to be. That's a total difference on the dot too, with a little. Goody. Smash them down a little bit more. Come on now. Okay, so I have a crowbar behind me, and that weld is not attached. Let's see if I can get these down. Shabby, not so shabby. Buzz that off. Alrighty, that's going to do it for this one. And I'll finish grinding up all that stuff and all the other body work once I have this up on a rotisserie, which I'm going to build for the next episode. And I'm also going to remove everything, the windows, of course the doors, and just have this be as light as it can possibly be. So, wish me luck on that. I have basically watched a bunch of videos on how to do a rotisserie, and there's not a lot actually out there. And I've come up with a design that is probably a little overkill, but I would rather have overkill than underkill. So, anyway, signing off. Peace out.